The girl avoided the poor guy and ignored him. One day he stopped by the yard on Gelandewagen. Hey guys, probably each of us in our lives went through certain difficulties and problems in personal relationships. Especially difficult is the period when making a splash is better than cash. After all, unfortunately, nowadays young girls choose guys not by their intellect and not even by education. Increasingly, the decisive factor in choosing a partner in his success, beautiful clothes, fashionable devices, expensive lifestyle, and, of course, a cool car. And it doesn't matter if a guy has prospects and what's in his head. What matters is what car he drives. I think many people will agree with me. No matter how you look at it, an expensive car is one of the most prominent attributes of a person who occupies a high step in the social hierarchy, and it is pointless to argue with it. Today I will tell you a story which has been talked about on the net for many years. I am even more than sure that it is very appropriate in our time, because such cases are everywhere and no one will be surprised by them. A guy named Max was an ordinary technical support worker in one of the small companies, who cannot boast a large income. Just a few weeks ago, during that time, he met his classmate, who he had not seen for several years since their graduation from school. It so happens that they seem to live in the same district, but their roads have not crossed. At that time, Max was walking home from a bus stop as usual and met a girl who he liked very much in his school years. But as it often happens, she never noticed him. In his school years, he was a small and skinny boy, but after school, Max seriously went in for sports and began to care for his body while going to the gym. Probably, it was his transformation that pushed a girl named Anya to pay attention to a former classmate going towards her. They started talking about who met with former classmates and who communicates or keeps in touch with whom. So they talked to each other a lot. The girl showed a photo on her phone to tell about her present life, about the fact that she travels a lot. Max, in turn, tried to support the conversation, telling jokes. Anyway, this meeting lasted for several hours. They walked and time flew by. By the way, the guy never even thought that Anya felt sympathy for him. The man and the woman felt attraction towards each other, seeing the shine in their eyes, and she would not have flirted and spent so much time with the guy if she was indifferent to him. Most likely, this accidental meeting could have continued if everything hadn't come to trivial questions about the place of work. The guy decided not to make anything up, and all the more did not lie, but just told her how it is. I work at the most ordinary job, from morning to evening and 6 days a week. The money is enough for a normal life, but I can only dream about expensive resorts. In general, Max told everything as it is, and nothing unusual happened, but before his eyes, Anya began to change dramatically. It was obvious that she was not interested in further conversation. Then she politely hinted that she had to go, and that she had completely forgotten about the important meeting. The guy in turn offered to accompany her, but Anya refused, arguing that she would be accompanied by someone else. Max immediately understood what was going on. Most likely, an ordinary worker is not suitable for this beauty, but for the sake of interest, he still asked if they can meet again, to which the girl persuasively given her consent and asked to write to her on social media. After that, Anya quickly said goodbye to Max and left him. Different things happen. Maybe things are not as he thought. Maybe she really forgot about the important meeting. That's why Max decided not to worry too much, but to write to the girl and remind about himself in a few days. But guys, as it turned out, Anya was not quite honest. A couple of days later, Max wrote a message with the text, "Anya, hello, how are you?" But he didn't get the answer to his question that night, just like the next day. However, the guy probably wouldn't have been himself if he hadn't decided to write the message to the girl again. "Hey, is something wrong? You're ignoring me." But in response, there was silence again, although Max saw that the girl read his messages. Perhaps Max would have remembered this story for a long time and returned to it mentally, but only one case put everything in its place and gave answers to all questions. As the guy himself wrote, "Probably today was the best day of my life in the last few years, and everything happened absolutely by accident. I was walking home quietly after work as, suddenly, on the side of the road near me stopped a car. A cool Gelandewagen. The glass went down. I saw a man in an expensive suit. Probably, it was necessary to be nervous. After all, everybody knows who drives such cars, but the man politely asked me how to pass to a certain address. The thing is that I live just there, not far from his house. I tried to explain the road to him, but judging by the look on the driver's face, he did not understand anything. Then I myself offered to show this place, to which he only responded by consent and thanked me. Max added, "Dude, I owe you now. If you need it, just tell me." The driver replied. I have never driven in such cars myself, but the driver was quite normal and trustworthy. So I took the passenger seat and we drove. I was asking him about the car, tried to touch the torpedo and door map imperceptibly. But when a stranger saw my interest, he asked me if I liked it and allowed me to touch and click on anything I wanted. The temporary interlocutor turned out to be a good person in Max's opinion, but at that moment there was not even a thought in his head that this random meeting would help him. When a car with a boyfriend and a stranger had already arrived in the yard of that very house, just by an unrealistic coincidence, Max saw the very same classmate who had been ignoring him for several days. Yes guys, it was Anya, and she was not alone, but walking under the handle with some unknown young man. Obviously, he wanted to look very important and very serious at that moment, but most of all, he wanted her to see him just when he was getting out of the cool car. That's why nothing else and more clever came to our hero's mind, except to ask a man to stop near this couple. In any case, the man stopped the car where Max asked, also so that the door opened right in the place where passers-by were. After that, the guy confidently got out of the car. You should have seen the eyes of Anya. It was something. She looked at me for a few seconds and could not understand whether it was me or not. After that, she even let go of her companion's hand and told me hello. I was already in the stage of euphoria, but what happened next, even I was shocked. The stranger in the Gelandewagen just managed to turn around to park the car further, but he was in a good mood and decided to play along. Since then, Max has never seen this man again. He has not seen Anya either. Not for the reason that she did not answer him, but on the contrary, he made this decision himself. The thing is that after this unexpected meeting, Anya wrote 10 letters in the evening on the social media network about the fact that she hadn't seen his messages, and that she wanted to answer him, and many other things. But the guy has decided for himself that he does not need such a girl. Not only that, he decided to do with her exactly what she did with him. He did not answer anything to her, even after she wrote him a few more days. And I'll let her think whatever she wants, Max added. In general, this is the story we have today. It may be fiction, but there is nothing unreal about it. Even on the contrary, such stories can be heard often. And unfortunately nowadays, an expensive car for many girls means more than education and head on shoulders. Do you think the guy did the right thing by ignoring the girl? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's all for today. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.